The 3D Projection, written and narrated by Alan Walton. The front doorbell sounded, and Professor David Gladstone walked down the hallway and unbolted the door. There, in front of him, was the bedraggled figure of Christopher Newman, the PhD student he was mentoring, rain dripping from his trilby. It was unusual for a student to come to his home, but somehow he knew that something was important.
Come in. Oh, what a surprise. Come in before you catch your death of cold. What in heaven's name has brought you here? Obviously something that cannot wait until tomorrow, I guess,
I'm so sorry to trouble you, Professor, but I need to discuss something so important that it could not wait until tomorrow. If you could just give me a few minutes, I can outline it for you, and then you can decide if you want to dig deeper with me.
Come in, dear boy. I'll put the kettle on. Just the thing to warm you up. Now, go into the lounge and warm yourself by the fire. I'll be back soon.
With that, David went into the kitchen, and the kettle was soon hissing. Christopher looked at all the certificates adorning the wall, and noticed the Nobel Prize citation in pride of place. So many achievements, such a rich life. Standing close to the log fire, he felt the rain evaporating away from his raincoat. He took it off and placed it over the back of a chair, and fairly close to the fire. That should do the trick, he thought.
Ah, Christopher, do you take milk and sugar?
Oh, just milk, please. No sugar. Always thought of it as poison, actually.
Just so, Christopher, just so.
David dropped 6 sugar cubes into his tea, stirring vigorously, as if to capture every molecule of energy. He looked across at Christopher over the top of his half-framed glasses, and finally spoke, after what seemed, to Christopher anyway, a very long time. He lit his pipe and beckoned with his hand for Christopher to reveal the purpose of his visit. You see, Professor, I've stumbled upon something so remarkable I had to share with someone, and that someone should only be you.
I see, dear boy. Do go on.
Well, I'm not quite sure where to start, sir.
Shall we say at the beginning? That's always a good plan, you know. Keep it simple, and then we could develop from there.
Sure, okay. Well, last week I was running some tests just to check the status of the accelerator, and I got a warning light on the beta modifier.
Yes, that does happen from time to time, and it's usually a power fluctuation.
Yes, I know, and I did check on power variance, but everything showed up as normal.
I presume you checked the beta modifier for any glitches, yes?
Yes, sir. All of that was checked, and including backup systems. All perfectly normal.
And then?
Well, the monitor I was using showed up something rather different. It displayed a 3-dimensional pattern.
Which was?
The shape was the normal shape representing one of our information cubes, but it was in 3D.
That's impossible. All of our work, our analysis, is 3-dimension. You must have made some sort of mistake, shall we say.
I did not, sir. I checked the internal output interface, and it was not coming from there. I find this hard to believe, but it was as though the information was coming in from an external source. I know it sounds crazy, but that was my initial conclusion.
Yes, this certainly does sound very odd, you know.
If I did not know better, It was if a strong external source initiated a preemptive instruction to our mainframe.
Let's keep an open mind on this, dear boy, as we now have to work on the basis of, however improbable the answer is, all possibilities must be investigated, you know. Leave no stone unturned.
In a two-dimensional shape, there is only X and Y. In a three-dimensional object, there is X, Y, and Z. It would be very difficult to comprehend a world of 2D, but for work at the accelerator, everything was in 2D. Something external was converting all of their work to 3D. It was impossible, but yet it had happened. Close to the massive particle accelerator Maison, based in Winnipeg, Canada, they were now able to discover many new particles that presented themselves, that far exceeded anything that their friends at CERN had discovered. The Higgs boson was just the beginning of the journey into impossibly small particles. Just a few miles away, the scientists at the Krantz Institute Alpha Radio Telescope had discovered a new type of radiation, previously hidden because of technical limitations before, that was constantly bathing the whole universe as far as could be detected. The purpose and effect were as yet unknown, but extremely puzzling. What was staggering was that this energy, radiation, whatever it was, had immense power and emanated from all directions. What was even more strange was that this energy simply passed through suns, planets, and even through the densely packed asteroid belts of the planet Jupiter. It bathed everything. With the sudden appearance of serendipity, Professor Gladstone happened to have lunch with his friend, who headed up the institute, and they both shared their strange findings. Always good to share new information with a friend, even if they don't understand, as tangential lateral ideas can materialize out of the ether. It transpired that crossways, it worked. The Institute had their readouts in 3D from all observations. It was obvious to those two great minds that something was bending the normal understanding of physics. On YouTube, many folk were posting their views on the flat Earth hypothesis and how they were certain that the Earth was flat, and by extension, everything was 2D. But the drawback to that is it was a 3D world as experienced by all. The operative word here is experienced. The evidence that the planet is flat was gaining momentum, with even astronauts claiming this, although a globe could clearly be seen below. It was much more than this. The truth was more strange than anything that could be imagined. Professor Gladstone took his senior members of staff to the Krantz Institute for an urgent meeting of both disciplines in an attempt to brainstorm all their findings.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I have asked for this meeting as something big is happening in worldwide perception. The perception of everything.
He pointed to the large screen.
Even just a few weeks ago, if any of you had told me that we are living in a two-dimensional world, I would have laughed at you. You would not be able to prove it, let alone have any credibility with anyone scientific. We find ourselves trying to understand the connection between what happened to us in the examination of particles and your good selves with your discovery of this radiation. Energy, perhaps, that has been detected here at the Maison complex. I'm convinced there is a link, but we need to understand it. That is why we from the Krantz Institute are here. We might possibly fail to draw a conclusion, but we should try our best. Now, let's split up into groups and have some intense discussions. Fingers crossed. Now, we owe it to the world to get to the bottom of all this, and maybe, just maybe, there might be a solution.
All over the world, strange events were unfolding. Fragmented visions of three-dimensional objects flicking in and out of normal view and appearing in 2 dimensions, albeit briefly. It had now made the major news channels, and the reports were of random sightings, but witnessed by many people. It was hard to explain for the witnesses to explain what they saw. They were not looking at 3-dimensional objects, but just things that had height and length, no depth. Very difficult to understand. Would have quite a task at hand to make sense of it. The sightings were brief and very unsettling. The saddest part was many passenger planes crashed on approach to runways all over the world, as the disorientation for both pilots and instruments was catastrophic. A full 14 hours had passed for the 2 groups of scientists, now exhausted by the long, intense discussions. Most had agreed that the conclusion was this all-pervading radiation, energy, had caused some sort of effect on reality itself. The professor spoke again.
I have now received all of your input, and my determination is that this newly discovered energy has originated, hard to believe, but from the time of creation of the universe itself. The fragmentation of reality itself, how we perceive it, it's changing fast.
There was a hush across the room and a nervous cough.
Most disturbing of all is that this energy is becoming weaker, and that process is going faster by the day. What I am saying is this energy sustains a 3D reality. It nurtures it. All of human history has been in 3D, and surely, but surely, it gets weaker. Strange as it may sound, I believe this sustaining 3D energy source was created. Maybe a creator. Maybe a very advanced alien civilization. And everything has been a projection. A reality projection. And we have to face the fact that this is actually happening. Right here and now.
Those folk that believe the earth is flat were entering a new reality. 2D was here. Nothing could change this. As 3D started to fade and 2D emerged with every passing hour, the change was almost too much for the human mind to absorb. The earth was flat, a point along a line. A new world order would emerge. The end.